our chief destination, or find us on a YouTube podcast, on Apple Podcasts, or on Substack. Thanks for tuning into The Ignition. Let's ignite.
Damn, I love that new intro. It's actually the old intro. A little bit long. It's a little bit on the long side. Wow.
Let's get busy with the truth.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be here. Welcome. It is April 6th as we speak right now. The Artemis is getting ready to transit around the moon, which means that for all the scientific project and endeavors, 60 years ago, we went to the moon. Then we receded to low Earth orbit. Then we stopped the space shuttle program. And yet we go forward. Artemis is slingshotting around the world, around the moon, which is exciting. I'm a space guy. I love space trivia. I love all things outer space. So it's a really interesting day, I think, especially when you look at that. Good morning, everyone. It is, in fact, April 6th today. Welcome to the Ignition News. I do want to ask you, please, to go ahead and follow us on your favorite podcasting platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, wherever that might be. I did take the day off yesterday. He is risen. No, in all reality, went up to hang out with the family, took the dog up. It was a really wonderful day. And I thought I had it in me to crank out an episode, but I needed to take the day off. So there was no Ignition News. You're not missing out. There was not an Ignition News yesterday. I instead found myself in the boppin' hoppin' town of Mesquite, Nevada. So that's fun. Fun fact, Mesquite is actually also in Clark County, which I actually did not know. So on today's date, April 6th, the first modern Olympic Games opened in 1896 in Athens after a 1,500-year hiatus. In 1917, we officially entered World War I. In 1924, a team of aviators from the United States Army Service began their first aerial circumnavigation of the globe. And let's see what else. The world's first animated film, The Humorous Phases of Funny Faces, what a cool title, was released. That's pretty cool. And let's see. Yeah, it's National New Beer's Eve. That's a precursor to National Beer Day. Love that for me. It's National Siamese Cat Day. That is super fun. It's National Meow. Let's find us one of those cats. Let's see. It's Merle Haggard's birthday. It is Paul Rudd's birthday. And happy birthday to both of those people. I keep getting this joke loaded in. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. Old joke. Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants? You all know this one. Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants? Because he got a hole in one. And how does a penguin put its house together? How does a penguin build its house? It glues it together. Okay, not the best. Not the best material. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone. It's really good to have you on the show today. There's a lot happening in the world. It's kind of hard to know where to start. We could probably start with that absolute just bonkers press conference today from the President of the United States. Headlines from that, I guess, would be that he said that they could basically finish Iran in one evening. Let's see. I mean, anyone pick up anything else? The president refused to say whether the war was winding up or winding down. And somehow the United States of America has taken the fact that 2 planes were shot down, that we apparently lost some helicopters, and there were rumors that C-130s were also destroyed. I've not officially verified that yet, but I've seen rumors about that. So somehow this administration has taken the fact that almost $200 million worth of aircraft went down in an unnecessary clump. And the fact, apparently we're calling this a victory. That's, and yes, of course, obviously with the fact that we rescued both the pilot and the weapons officer, those are very good things. But the reality is they didn't have to be put in that situation because they didn't have to be put in that situation. See, anyone else here? Hegseth made it like resurrection. Yeah. There was so much contradiction. I'm just reading some of the comments. He said they have plans for the war, but they are super secret. Okay. Love the chats today. Just a lot of word slop from 47 today. Yeah, absolutely. But he did say Iran could be taken out on Tuesday. And Pete Hegseth said that major strikes are to come. Listen, I think we've had a lot of conversations and we're having them on the outside, the periphery, if you will. But the fact of the matter is, like, we are inching closer and closer to nuclear engagement. The irony, of course, being that the entire situation, this entire conflict was ostensibly started to allegedly stop Iran from having nuclear weapons. I thought we obliterated those nuclear weapons capabilities. What is going on? What is going on? How many planes how much of the United States military infrastructure do we have to destroy in this war? Do you realize we're not even being allowed to see what is happening to these bases right now? The base in Saudi Arabia suffered so much damage. Bases in the Middle East have been so extensively damaged that soldiers are staying in hotels in what is possibly an illegal action, by the way. It's probably illegal to require hotels to quarter soldiers during a conflict like this. Where are these photographs? Where are these videos? There's an information bubble over this conflict that is like unlike anything I've ever seen. It makes me feel closer. I feel like we are closer to the 1980s sort of Soviet Russia era of disinformation. The fact that we can't even see what's happening in this conflict, right? We lost 2 of those refueling planes. We know that we lost $1 billion aircraft radar system, billions and billions of dollars in damage. We're not being shown these things, right? And I saw someone the other day, they were talking about the president's health and they were saying, oh, well, if the president was unwell, we would hear all about this. They didn't even acknowledge that the plane went down. They didn't even acknowledge the plane went down until Iran posted pictures of the plane going down. We have no reason to trust this administration, and we inch closer and closer and closer to military conflict. But today we want to talk about what exactly that is, what's happening as a result of that conflict. So let's get into our first stories. And the first story on the Ignition News today is increasing concerns from medical professionals, members of Congress, and really anyone with eyeballs that the president of the United States is not mentally well and that his cognitive decline is a serious national security risk. But on Easter Sunday, we got the call was coming in from inside the House. Dr. Vin Gupta, the senior medical analyst for MS Now and a practicing public health physician, posted clinical observations that detailed the president's decline. He listed 5 symptoms that have been observed in the president over the following months: erratic behavior, inability to finish sentences, frequent confusion, illogical train of thought, word finding difficulties. And then he said, developing and worsening gradually over time, the president is exhibiting all signs of dementia. He said it right there. Developing and worsening over time, the president is exhibiting all the signs of dementia. Gupta has been careful to note that he has not examined the president personally and that he was not offering a formal diagnosis. So, how do we look at this? Well, Fred Trump Sr. Passed away from pneumonia, and that was a complication of Alzheimer's. He had also been diagnosed with dementia. By his late 80s, he could not recognize his own family. Trump's own niece has said on record that she looks at her uncle and sees her grandfather. She described the same look of confusion, the same disorientation to time and place, the same deteriorating short-term memory. So here we go. Then, of course, you have Easter morning, the expletive-filled Truth Social post threatening Iran, and then closing it up with the phrase, praise be to Allah. First of all, I just want to take a pause, and I want to say that as a millennial who grew up in the post-Iraq, post-Afghanistan, post-9/11 era, one of the greatest disservices to our country that has happened is this absolute onslaught of anti-Muslim rhetoric. Some of my best friends, I've seen them personally impacted by this. I've seen how they have had to live underneath the shadow of oppression caused by anti-Muslim rhetoric in this country. And on Easter Sunday, the president of the United States mocking literally billions of Muslims, not just in this country, but all over the world. I ask you just a simple question. What is the point of all of this? What are we accomplishing with this? But I have to concur. I think it is less about his overt racism, which we all know is there, and more about his cognitive ability to make and to say something like that in a public setting, in a public forum. This anti-Muslim rhetoric is dangerous. Welcome to the Ignition News, everybody. I do need to take a brief pause and ask you to please follow the show. We actually have a couple people coming up on the show tonight, or today. I got a special intro. I have a guest host who's telling about a special project of his, and then one of our moderators, Northwest Pole Project, gone through a lot of life changes, really, and I'd love for y'all to hear about what she's doing to build community. Let's get into the next story. I want to talk to you about how this war is costing you personally right now. Oh, my grammar's not great today. Amazon just raised its surcharges 3.5% to 2 million sellers. The specific cause of that has been because of the rising cost of diesel fuel. I think it was at $3.36, if I was correct. I hate to quote that here. But the point being, diesel is now over $5 a gallon. When you have thousands of trucks in your network, that cost is exponentially increased. So now 2 million sellers are getting a 3.5% increase in their fees. And of course, they are going to pass that on to consumers. The word sur in French means above or over. It is a surcharge. It's a charge over the charge. And we're constantly made to feel like these are temporary charges, right? But I think we all intuitively know that these surcharges are not going to go away. They're going to tack these charges on, and those charges are just going to be part of the normal baseline pricing. Once again, UPS has also added on or increased surcharges. So too has FedEx, all increasing surcharges. UPS, FedEx, and others have not yet issued refunds for the tariffs that you illegally paid if you imported something. And of course, USPS, the United States Postal Service, an 8% fuel surcharge, a charge on top of the charge. Crude oil passed $107 a barrel. Jeez, I'm having a real tough time talking away. But here's what I think you really need to understand. We are looking always. We've been forced into this very short-term analysis of what's happening in this country. This war started on February 28th. Pretty sure that's when it started. I didn't do a lot of fact checking before the show today. Started on February 28th, right? It takes those ships 45 days, 35 to 45 days. 35 to 45 days. So we are just now seeing the last of the ships that went through that passage. Now we're really going to start seeing it. Now we're really going to start seeing the impact. And of course, what people don't realize is that the next thing that's going to happen is food insecurity. The cost of groceries is going to go up. The cost of fertilizer is going to impact not just how much food you have, but the cost of that food as well. It is all barreling at us right now. And we're just looking at this short term. But what we don't realize that even if this conflict stopped today, 5 months from now, 6 months, 7 months from now, we are going to see price hikes that are going to strangle us. We're nowhere near the end of this. And so you have a president who is barreling towards a cratering economy, who is actively trying to suppress the next election. And you have to ask ourselves, why is the president building a bunker that's not going to be completed until 6 months before the 2028 election? We have to stop pretending that we live in a different country and live in the country that we are in right now. 29% approval for this president. That number, 29%, is lower than any number ever that Joe Biden ever had. Trump has gone from a net approval of minus 31 to minus 41 on cost and inflation. More than half of Americans think he is focusing on international matters more than domestic ones. And among independents, 66% think that. 29% of Republicans agree. The midterms are 7 months away. 7 months away. Welcome to the Ignition News, everybody. I'm really glad that you're here. I think I would just ask you a quick question, which is, what do you talk about when the world is ending? I find myself asking this question all of the time now. In case you haven't noticed, I make less and less videos publicly now. And that is because I don't see the need to talk about what every other person is talking about. I don't need to post breaking news. We have the Ignition News every single day. But I wanted to just talk about something. I need to pull this up quickly. Let me pull this up. You see, the thing is, I can edit out the silence on the back end of the show. So, what I want to tell you about is, like I said, what do you talk about when it feels like the world is ending? So, what I want to talk about is, I can't find his name. I'm so sorry. When you feel like you can't make any change to the world, I was reminded of this guy. There's actually a really good, a really good video by A More Perfect Union. It was talking about the cost of hot dogs. I don't know where it is. There we go. I found it. I had this ready for the show. So this guy's name is Ron Gordon. So in 1979, he was famously called the hot dog justice warrior. Okay, so here's what happened. So Ron Gordon saw that at his local baseball park they were raising the cost of hot dogs by 5 cents, and he was like, "No, I'm going to fight this. This is not okay." And so he did months and months of research to understand why it was not appropriate to raise the cost of hot dogs by 5 cents. The city and the ballpark said that they were doing it because of the cost, because of a new city ordinance where they had to wrap the hot dogs. So because they had to wrap the hot dogs, they had to raise the cost of every hot dog by 5 cents. So this dude went on this absolute mission. He did research. He called all the vendors. He found out how much the hot dog wraps cost. He found out how much it cost and how much time it took them to wrap the hot dogs. And he took all of this information to his local city government. And he literally did a speech in front of his local city government because the stadium said that they could wrap like 2 to 3 hot dogs per minute. And so as he was presenting to the city government, he literally was wrapping hot dogs in front of them. And I think he wrapped like 10 or 12 of these hot dogs in front of them. And he proved the point. Oh, look at that. I got a violation on TikTok. That's incredible. I just got a violation for talking about guy wrapping hot dogs. What the fuck? What is going on? That's insane. These people are, you know what that is? It's these little babies, these little titty babies, and they get so sensitive. They get so sensitive and they just can't handle themselves. And so they see, they're like, "Oh, here's some people doing good things." So, that's funny. Anyways, let's keep going. So anyways, Mr. Ron Gordon fought this, and he kind of became a folk hero for the street pricing movement, which is this idea that, if you go to a stadium, you should be paying the same price that you pay on the street for the same hot dogs. So I don't know. When you think that you can't make an impact, you have to look at someone like that man and say, like, yeah, actually, I think that I can. So yeah, good morning. Welcome to the show. I did want to bring up one of our moderators, if you're ready still. I don't know if you're still there. You there, Northwest Pole Project? You want to come on up? We're waiting. It's fine. There we go. All right. So actually, we're going to have one of our moderators coming up on the show. And I thought it was really cool because we talk a lot about building community and making an impact. And Northwest Pole Project, well, I'll let you actually take the floor. You can tell us what you've been doing.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm putting my microphone closer to the phone, but go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for having me up. So, I'm gonna start at the very beginning. About a little less than a year ago, I started out by just kind of documenting and witnessing what was going on in my community, and that was with me going to the Portland ICE facility and videoing and documenting what was happening. And during that time, obviously, if any of us are paying attention, we've seen that DHS and ICE is kind of just brutalizing anyone who's out there documenting and protesting. So I was a part of witnessing that. But more importantly, I witnessed my community coming together and supporting each other. During the time I was out there documenting, people were making hot dogs, funnily enough, and barbecuing and making sure everyone was supported and fed and had the things they need to be in that environment. And at a point, it became a little bit too overwhelming for me to continue to go down there. And so I decided that if people are capable of taking care of each other in the midst of being gassed and shot at by pepper balls and flashbangs shot at them, I can probably do something a little bit less intense within my own community. And so I got together with a few of my friends from middle school and high school and people I've worked with in the past, and we decided to work on a project together. We're opening a barbecue restaurant and bar in our very, very small town, and we're going to be offering fishing lessons, cooking lessons, art, music lessons, and our goal is to have it set up at a pay-what-you-can rate so that it's available for anyone who's interested in participating. It's been a really fun collaboration to get back together with people that I've known from 20, 30 years ago and watch what they've been inspired by separately from me over the last couple years, and for us to all come together and decide that we're better when our community supports each other. Most of this project has been supported by our community through Buy Nothing or friends and family. We've put out a lot of interest on different social media platforms and just gotten donations for the activities that we're trying to set up and like restaurant equipment and all of that. But it's been a really fun adventure. I'm excited to see us open in about 2 weeks and just see the whole community come together to work on a project that is only going to benefit all of us.
Yeah, so that's a lot that you did in the span of just about a year. So you went from, I think, I've known you long enough to say this. I think we all observed each other go through whether that was paralysis or just waiting or putting our heads down or just protecting our communities. And so I think it's really cool. Not only did you go out into the streets to document and to be there and to witness what was happening with ICE in your community, but then you took it to the next level, kind of simultaneously, honestly. And at the same time you were doing that, you continued with Northwest Pole Project, which was to help get kids who couldn't have access to fishing poles doing something constructive and active with their lives, and had a huge impact in your community doing that. And then now you've transitioned to this new phase, which is both like I would call it like community entrepreneurship, right? And then also creating a third space, right? We talk about third spaces a lot, but I think that's something that maybe we should talk about more eventually. Is you're creating a space where not only you can feed people, but you can be a community entrepreneur. I would assume at some point, you're like creating jobs in that too, but also creating a third space where people can go to do all the things that you just talked about, which is I think pretty cool. So yeah, proud of you.
Exactly, and I think thank you, and I think it's super important that we recognize that we each are capable of adding something to the mix. You might not be the person that wants to go document things firsthand. You might not want to be the person that opens a space like this. But we have received so much support and resources from just random people who've offered paint so we can paint our bathroom, who've offered benches for us to set up in the restaurant. There is a multitude of little things that we can each do to support each other. And if we just take the time to reflect on what we have and what we can offer, whether it's physical items or just your knowledge or experience, we will be so much better off by supporting each other in this way.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people chose paralysis, and you like I was telling you the other day, like you've chosen like a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of energy to do what you're doing. It's not a small thing. So I think that's pretty awesome. How could people support? How could people? How could people? How can people support what you're doing?
Right now, we're looking for donations of fishing poles and fishing gear. It can be sent to our P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 35 in Sandy, Oregon, and the zip code is 97055. We also have a Venmo and Cash App set up, and we use those donations to buy fishing poles. Usually we get fishing poles donated to us, but they don't have line or lures, so
Nice.
the kids are all set up and ready to go when we give them away. And then if you're in the Molalla, Oregon area, in about 2 weeks, you can come check out Fire and Knives Barbecue. And I'll be putting out some more information when we get closer to opening. But we're going to have some classes for kids to do, like free cooking classes. We'll have some fishing tutorial kind of demonstrations going on. I have plans for a paint and sip night with my community for some drawings that I've made myself, and I'll just kind of show people along the way how to do it. And we'll have live music, and we're going to be having music lessons. So if you're in Molalla, it's not too far from Portland. It's only about 40 minutes from Portland. I would love to have you come say hello.
Would you say that a red community? Like, is it a more conservative community? I don't know. I'm just kind of curious.
It is
10,000 people.
It is very conservative in that area. Yeah, it's a pretty small town. There's a lot of farming, agricultural stuff there. But compared to just 40 minutes away in Portland, it's very red.
Yeah.
In comparison.
The reason I asked that question is I think that's a very good example of how you can bring the community to that kind of area. I mean, I think the Democrats just gave up on rural areas. It's really kind of disgusting that they just really like, we're not even going to try, you know? And the reality is, like, when you go, I mean, because it's not like you're going there and putting up a DNC office. You're going there and you're like teaching people like how to actually build community. So in many ways, I think that's even more powerful because you have the ability to go into that community, into an area that probably thinks like, you know, anyone who doesn't support the president is this terrible, you know, I'm not even gonna say that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they think like that they have been brainwashed to believe that the ideas like mutual aid, socialism, community food efforts, they've been brainwashed to think that those things are bad things. So you actually have the opportunity to prove that wrong, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I will say we've had 0 instances of anyone being a hater towards what we're working on.
Yeah. Not surprised.
We welcome everyone regardless of their political views, regardless of their identity in any way. It's a space for everyone to come participate in creating something that we can all benefit from. Yeah.
You're doing great. I'm super proud of you. And thank you for also everything that you do for this community that helps keep us going. I appreciate you. Thanks for hopping up.
Well, thank you. And I'm proud of you too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. That means a lot. Good stuff. That felt very Rebel Radio adjacent. Well, what an interesting show. We finally had a nice inflection of trolls. It's been a while since I've really had a chance to go toe to toe with trolls, but I think I've kind of moved past that, to be honest with you, because now when I see these people hopping into our show and they troll us, I just really feel fundamentally bad for them. I see people who are in the midst of all this like great attack on us, like when this government, when this war, when other governments are really coming for all of us, and you see people who hop on and they decide to be like, you know, just visibly terrible people. I can't even be mad at those people anymore. Like, there's certainly a lot of my life where I've invested a lot of energy being mad at those people, but now they just seem so incredibly small. They seem so incredibly small and so incredibly petty that it's almost just like, wow, what kind of life have you led? Like, I feel bad for you. And as Northwest Poll Project just proved, a lot of these people who live in more conservative spaces, they just need people to show them a different way, which is what we intend to do. So those are the stories. But before I close it out, I do want to introduce you to a very special rebel. I haven't made a lot of asks lately, but my son he put together a special project for our merch store. You can support the store at buymeacoffee.com/Rebel Radio. But my son made something special. He has been, observing everything that's been going on in the world. And I know we talked about whistles before. He made his own very custom whistle. Here you go, buddy. He made a custom safety whistle, and he's doing that in order to help his own project to build a SEM set. He's really hoping to get a 3D printer. So he's actually made a custom safety whistle. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that. So go ahead, man. Tell us about it. He's off camera right now.
1 sec.
Oh, he got a script. While he's doing that, I do want to recognize he got his first supporter today. So I want to throw that out there while we're waiting for that. Someone donated $25 to your 3D printer goal today. So I wanted to say thank you to, you know who you are that did that. So we got to make sure they get a cool whistle. I appreciate that. But yeah, tell us about it, buddy.
Hey guys, I thought I would design a special whistle design with the resist slogan just for the people that tune into the show.
Hold on, slow down. You're doing good. Slow down.
Okay. I'm in the engineering program at my school, and it's heavily focused on 3D modeling.
Mhm.
So I want a 3D printer to help my classmates, my teachers. So if they have designs that they need to test or use in some way, then I could probably help them with that as long as it doesn't take too long.
Okay. Tell us about the whistles.
The whistles are about 1.5 inches.
Okay.
And they're really loud. And for $10, you can get 2 of them with a National Parks postcard.
Okay.
And for an extra $5, I can customize it with whatever slogan you want.
Okay. Awesome. So for $10, you get 2 orange safety whistles. Give us a toot. Show us how they sound. Go ahead. Perfect. I love it. Cause chaos. I love that. So for $10, it is 3D printed. I think we got to point that out. So a lot of people, it's a 3D printed, custom made whistle that Ben customized the design for. And then he's using all those proceeds go towards purchasing his own 3D printer that he uses to teach his friends and family. But tell us about what does it mean? The safety whistle, community protection. What kind of things does that mean to you?
To me, it means like if you're in an uncomfortable situation and you need to be helped, you can just blow this whistle and it'll alert other people that something's going on or that's weird. Why is that happening? And then other people will probably come to help.
I would hope so. Yeah.
And it can also be used to irritate the.
That's right. Good job. Good job, buddy. It can be used to irritate. I love that. I love you. Good job, buddy. All right. So it's a big ask. I don't always go for the direct ask, but what's your goal, Ben?
My goal is $400.
$400, probably a little bit more for the shipping and stuff, all that, the fees and all that stuff. So for $10 free shipping, you get what?
You get 2 whistles.
2 whistles.
With a key ring on it already.
Okay.
And a National Parks postcard.
And a National Parks postcard that you can send to a friend or send it to your favorite representative to irritate them. So your goal is 40. You're $25 closer to your goal. Good job. And so it is 3D printed. What have you learned from 3D printing about, like all this? What have you learned about it? Just
I've learned that it's actually a very sustainable resource because to print something that's like the size of my head, that'll technically cost me around $5 in filament. So it's really sustainable and it can break the supply chain by making it yourself.
There you go.
And you don't have to supply by other people.
All right. Very good. It's at buymeacoffee.com/Rebel Radio. You can find the link right in the bio. We're $25 closer to Ben's goal. Way to go, Rebel. I appreciate you. You did great. Everybody's saying you did a really, really good job. So good job. All right, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in for the show today. It was a fun show. It's good stuff. I appreciate that. And it just goes to show you, thanks, bud. It goes to show you that you can make an impact on your community, whether you're old with a gray beard or whether you're trying to get a 3D printer to help out at school. You can make an impact on your community. It's been a really, really fun show. I missed you all yesterday, but it was nice to have a day off with the friends and family. So we talked about what do you talk about when you feel like the world is ending? And we had 2 examples today. And that's the thing. It's up to us. No one is coming to save us. That's my goal today, or my main theme for the show. That's how it kind of wraps together. No one is coming to save us. It is up to us to build our communities, to model that for our children and our family members. And I appreciate you very much. If you want to support Northwest Pole Project, go to her page on TikTok, learn about the restaurant, maybe take a tour to Oregon, go on the Oregon Trail, get yourself some barbecue. If you want to support Ben's project, buymeacoffee.com/Rebel Radio. It's the signature product. And it's custom made too, right here in Las Vegas. So thank you very much, everybody, for hopping on the show. I appreciate you. Somebody's saying, where do I get them? They're in the bio. The link's in the bio, but you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Rebel Radio. And that's the show today, everybody. It's April 6th. We'll see you later. It's been a great show.